Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Brianna and today we are doing a little reading updates video for what I read the end of June and July. If you're new to my channel, I started doing these reading updates instead of monthly wrap-ups on here because I do quite a few reading vlogs where I tell you about the books and my overall thoughts on them. So it's a little bit repetitive if I do the reading vlogs and talk about the book again in a reading wrap up. So these reading update videos are for books that I have read off camera. So if you want to go see all the other books that I have read recently, you're going to have to go check out my reading vlogs. Let's just get into it. I think I have 6 books to talk about today, a few fantasy. Yeah, I think 2 fantasy and then the rest are romance. So I'm probably just gonna go through them in order of how I read them. And you guys, I actually loved all of these books. Like all of the books I'm going to talk about today, I would definitely recommend. So you're going to want to stick around and find out what these 6 books are. The first I have is A Land So Wide by Erin A. Craig. And I actually read this one in June and I forgot to include it in my June reading updates video. So we are going to talk about it now. And this is actually an arc. When does this come out? Does it say anywhere? Ooh, September 9th. Erin A. Craig is one of my favorite fantasy authors. This one is actually her adult debut. She usually just does a YA fantasy. One of my favorites by her is House of Salt and Sorrows. Like, that is the perfect YA gothic dark fantasy. Like, I ate that book up, okay? And then the book after that is House of Roots and Ruin, and then also Small Favors and The 13th Child I've read by her. And I have loved every single one. So Penguin Random House reached out to me and they were like, hey, can we send you an arc of A Land So Wide? We know you're a huge fan of Erin A. Craig's work. And I was floored. I was like, abso-freaking-lutely, like, I'm honored, honestly. Okay, enough about that. Let me tell you what the book is actually about. This one is, I think at least, very, very unique. It does kind of give off the Hunger Games vibes or the Grace Year. Like, if you have read the Grace Year, I read that in, I think it was also June or maybe late May. But I loved that one, and it definitely gives off similar vibes, but still like unique magic. So this book takes place in this little small town, Mistaken, in Canada. And this town is protected by these warding stones, and these warding stones were left there by the benevolence because outside of these warding stones is basically like monsters that would kill you if you leave the warding stones. But the thing is, the warding stones are just around the town, so you can't leave the town. I think it's either every 7 or every 8 years there's what's called the hunt, and it's really not as bad as it sounds. I mean, it's still kind of bad, but it's not as bad as that would sound. Basically, when the hunt takes place, the men and women, or kind of boys and girls, of the town who are ages 16 and up take place in the hunt. And it is where the girls will go and hide somewhere, like out in the woods and such. And then the men have to hunt them, but not hunting to kill them. It's hunting to like find their bride. Which that's why it's kind of bad, is because like once a girl is found by a man, they will be like sold off to them and they have to get married. Thankfully for our main character that we follow, Greer, she has been in love with Ellis for several years. Like, they are in a great relationship. So their whole plan is that Greer is going to find a really, really good hiding spot that only Ellis knows about so that he can find her and then they can get married, because you can't get married in this town until you participate in the hunt. But like some of these girls like will get married off to totally horrible men because yeah. So Greer is scared that a man that she doesn't want to marry will find her before Ellis does, but she has enough faith in Ellis. So the day of the hunt comes and betrayals are made, you guys. Like, things are so crazy, and Greer ends up leaving the warding stones, and she is hoping to find some truths about herself and the town. I really, really loved this book, which, like, I love every Erin A. Craig book that I read, so no surprise there, really. I thought that it was a great adult debut for her. It was just a little more dark than usual, definitely a little bit more mature, but her YA fantasies are still pretty dark. So I didn't notice like too much of a difference, I guess, but definitely some more mature topics were discussed in this one that probably wouldn't be discussed in a YA novel. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. There were a few points that were a bit slow, but overall, it was pretty good. Okay, and next is actually the other fantasy that I read, and that was Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. This was my first book by Devney Perry. I know she usually writes romances, so this was her first romantasy, and I thought it was really good. This book is about, what is her name? Literally, when I was reading it, I would forget it because it's a very unique name, at least unique to me. Odessa, I'm pretty sure. Odessa. So Odessa is a princess, and her sister has basically been like primed to be their father's heir for her entire life. So a prince from another kingdom is coming to their kingdom because basically him and Odessa's sister are going to have this arranged marriage. But when the prince gets there, he's like, I don't want your sister, I want you instead. And Odessa's like, why me? Like, I have not been getting trained to be like a queen one day because I knew that wasn't going to be my role, right? So then the prince and his guardian take Odessa back to their kingdom, and there's all these different types of monsters that are just out in the kingdom that we see and we have to face, and that the Guardian is protecting Odessa from. This book had quite a few twists and turns in it. So many reveals that were just crazy. It's slow burn, it's very high stakes. And this one I also gave 4 out of 5 stars. It was kind of a, I don't know, I would say a breath of fresh air, because this I feel like was truly slow burn. Like, some books say they're slow burn, but it's like, okay, if they're kissing in the first 100 pages, that's not really slow burn to me. So it was kind of refreshing to read an actual slow burn, like enemies to lovers. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this one. It's also on Kindle Unlimited, so that's always nice. Now let's get on to the romances that I read. First up, we have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I probably won't like take a deep dive into this one because I feel like this is a very popular book that a lot of people have read already. But basically, it is about Sam and Percy. So honestly, it kind of gives The Summer I Turned Pretty vibes. Anyways, Percy's family just bought a cabin on the lake next door to Sam's family. So Percy spends every summer at this lake with Sam and his family. They become friends later into more boyfriend girlfriend. And in the first chapter, you find out that something happened that drove Percy and Sam apart, drove them to break up, and they have not talked in like a decade. So while you're reading, it's a dual timeline. You get some of the present day, and then you get the past summers that Percy spent with Sam and his family. So you get to see their friendship blossom into something more throughout the years. And it's really sweet. It's really beautiful. And you're just like, what in the world happened? They seem perfect for each other. But yeah, definitely gave me The Summer I Turned Pretty vibes, except this is adult romance, obviously, and The Summer I Turned Pretty is YA. So the characters are a lot more mature, which is good because I cannot stand Belly in the books. Like, Belly is so immature and so insufferable. Honestly, it was a great summer read. Like, I could have read this in one sitting. I picked it up and did not want to put it down until I found out what happened between them. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars as well. Every book so far, I've given 4 out of 5 stars. And then immediately after I finished Every Summer After, I picked up One Golden Summer because this book is about Sam's older brother Charlie that we see in Every Summer After. Now, definitely read Every Summer After first, because if you don't, one of the major plot twists from Every Summer After is mentioned in here. So it would just be a huge spoiler if you read this one first. So this one is about Alice, who is taking her grandmother to the same lake that the boys have lived on. And she is just trying to find a way to just live her life a little bit more because she never like opens up and really does stuff for herself. She's not brave enough, I guess you could say. And Charlie helps her out with that. She makes a list of everything she wants to do this summer while she's at the lake with her grandma. And yeah, Charlie helps her with that list. This one I really, really enjoyed for Charlie's character because Charlie just kind of sees himself as damaged goods and he doesn't think that he deserves to be happy because of things that he's done in the past. It's like, my heart just kind of breaks for him, you know? So to see him make Alice so happy and then for Alice to also try and break him out of his shell after he breaks her out of her shell, I really, really loved. Also, we got to see a few characters from Every Summer After in here, which I loved. Yeah, I was thinking about Every Summer After and One Golden Summer for quite a few days after I finished them because I just felt so connected to the characters. I really, really love Carly Fortune's writing. I've loved every book that I've read by her. This one I also gave 4 stars. Oh, you guys, I don't even know where to start with this one. Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh. This is book 6 in the Boys of Tommen series, so if you have not read the Boys of Tommen series up to this point, do not watch my segment on this book. Just skip ahead to the next book that I talk about because what I have to say about this book is definitely going to include spoilers from the rest of the series, and it kind of has to for you to be able to understand it. So, if you've read this book, stay here and I'm going to tell you probably not all my thoughts because there's so many thoughts and I feel like I won't even be able to get all of them out and like remember all of them. But yeah, I'm gonna let you know my thoughts on Releasing 10. Okay, I had to switch to the other hand because this one was getting sore because this book is a brick. So, Lizzy and Huey. Let me preface this by saying the first 5 books of the Boys of Tommen series, I did not like Lizzy at all. And I feel like a lot of people would agree with that. Like, I don't really think I'm in the minority for saying I didn't like Lizzy. And Hugh, I was kind of indifferent about. Like, we haven't really seen a ton of him. Obviously, we haven't read anything in his POV. So I was just like, okay, he seems like a decent guy. Like, I don't really have any opinions and thoughts on him yet because I don't know him as well as other characters yet. But after this book, I love them both so much. Like, some people still hate Lizzy, and whatever, that's your own opinion. I'm not going to come at anyone for their opinion on books and fictional characters. And I've also seen a lot of people say they dislike Huey after reading this book, and I'm just like, to me, he's a golden retriever, like best boyfriend ever. But I mean, I can understand why some people are upset with him, and I can also understand why people are upset with Lizzy. Okay. I loved this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I liked it more than Faming 7. And I can now confidently say that Gibbsy and Claire are my least favorite couple. I still really like Gibbsy, but I'm not a big fan of Claire. Not anymore after this book. And a lot of that has to do with the fact of how Claire treated Lizzy in Taming 7. And I know you can say, well, Lizzy treats everyone else terribly as well. Yes, she does. But in this, we find out that she has bipolar disorder. We find out that she was sexually abused from the time she was 3 years old. We find out all of Lizzy's trauma that she keeps buried, that she does not tell anyone but Hugh, and even Hugh doesn't even know all of it. Hugh just knows surface level, like his girlfriend is bipolar and needs to be medicated. He does not know anything else about that. He doesn't know why she has so much trauma. He does not know, again, like hardly any of it. And every other character knows nothing of it. So, yes, Lizzy lashes out. Lizzy says hurtful things. She's bipolar. She gets off of her meds. I think this is such an accurate representation of this mental health disorder that she has. So yeah, Lizzy has acted terrible to characters, but I think a lot of characters have also acted terribly to her, and they don't know anything that's going on behind closed doors. Literally, the only character that treats Lizzy right is Shannon and Huey. Like, Shannon just loves so hard, and Shannon also has so much trauma within her own family, and she doesn't use that against Lizzy whatsoever. She sees Lizzy. She sees that Lizzy needs someone, because Shannon has also been there where she needs someone but like can't say anything. And I love Shannon. Shannon's such a sweetheart and such an amazing friend. You know who's not an amazing friend? Claire. Claire, this whole book is like, oh, Lizzy, you're my best friend. But it's like, you do not treat her like your best friend. Oh, what do you mean, Claire? And then Huey, oh my gosh. They've literally been best friends since they were children and then start dating. And he is her safe place. And it is so cute. You know, the whole thing with Gibbsy, like Lizzy not being friends with Gibbsy anymore, I don't really think that's valid, because Gibbsy was also a kid when Lizzy's sister died, and Lizzy was so brainwashed and manipulated, and Gibbsy was also brainwashed and manipulated, both by Mark, because Mark was both of their abusers. And it's like, that's what they do. They try to drive these victims apart. They don't want their victims united to come together. So I also think that was really accurate. But yeah, I'm just like, Lizzy, please, like, wake up a little bit. Also, at the end of this book, where Lizzy, you know, cheats on Huey, which was so terrible. Oh my gosh, my heart was breaking in half for both of them. Like, because Lizzy didn't understand what was going on. She thought she was with Huey, and she was literally like sexually abused once again by Pierce. And then Huey doesn't understand what's going on with her at all. So it's just terrible that he thinks she's just cheating on him when there's so much more to it than that. And then when Lizzy is like, okay, I'm gonna go away, and gets the like electrotherapy or whatever, and she's like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes for me to get better, because I don't want to lose Hugh. Like, I love him so much. I know he loves me. I don't want to lose him. So she's willing to do whatever it takes. Yet, when it doesn't work, when her like 2-month long treatment doesn't work once again, because she won't open up to the doctors whatsoever, she just goes back and she's like, oh, guess what? It worked. I'm fine. When in her head, she's like, I'm not fine. It didn't work. And I'm like, girl, if it didn't work, like, that was really frustrating. And I think it's supposed to be frustrating to read inside of Lizzy's head, because everything she's going through, like, that's frustrating for her. And during the time, she doesn't see what's wrong with it, but it's like, okay, you literally just said you're going to do whatever it takes to get help, yet you keep lying and you keep telling everyone you're better. Like, that isn't going to help you. Yeah, I feel like I have so much more to say about this, but again, there's just so many thoughts. I can't keep them all like coherent about this book, but I did love it so much. Obviously it's graphic, obviously there's trigger warnings, but like, that's why there's trigger warnings, people. I am very scared for the next book. All I know is Lizzy and Huey better get their happy ending together. And lastly, we have Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Stone. This was my book club pick for July, so if you're interested in that, I do have my podcast book club linked in my bio. So that is like full spoilers, everything. This book is about Lenny, who her best friend has passed away from cancer, and she just does not know how to go on with life without her. She just does not know how to be happy anymore. So she has this like life list that her best friend wanted her to complete after her best friend died, so that Lenny would keep living her life. And she starts babysitting this, I think she's a 7-year-old girl, and this girl's uncle, Miles, is kind of always around too. He's just a super grumpy guy, but surprisingly, he wants to help Lenny with this life list, this list to be happy again, because he has also experienced very, very traumatic grief. So he kind of knows how to go through the motion of life after you're grieving. Him and Lenny become very unlikely friends, I would say, because he's so grumpy. And even though Lenny is very depressed and doesn't know how to go on with life, you can definitely tell she used to have like a bubbly sunshine personality. And you also see some glimpses into her past with her best friend, and that is really where her true personality shines through. So Miles is trying to get her back to that point. And although this is marketed as a romance, I would really say it's more so like women's fiction with a subplot of romance. It's really just the story of trying to find yourself and find happiness again after loss, which I think is very, very beautiful. And I did annotate this one, so I like to always read you guys a few of my annotations. So for this one, I did purple for sad, orange for happy, and then pink for romance. So I'll read you one of each. Okay, first one is purple. Does it get that natural for everyone to be reminded of the hole torn through your heart and be able to just tap the picture frame on the way past? This next one is very, very simple, but I thought it was very, very sweet. It is pink and it says, "There's only you, Lenny. Every time it's just you and you and you." And then lastly, I'll read you an orange one, and this one's a little bit long, so buckle up. It says, "I think that even in all of your worst moments of grief, you wish for companionship. I think you're always secretly hoping for happy endings, even when they don't seem possible. You say compulsive, but I think they're actually kind of just tenacious, like daisies popping up out of the snow. Grief has been sort of, I don't know, it sounds sappy, but like winter for you. And I think the part of you that can't help but manufacture happiness, because that's who you are. And it's sending up these little flowers to pop up and keep you company." So this was really, really sweet, and I did really like it. I ended up giving it a 3.5-star rating. So those are the 6 books that I have read off camera recently. If you liked this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. And make sure to comment any videos you would like to see from me in the future. I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!